Parameterization. What does that mean? And where are all the parameters in Power BI? If you have a look, let's scan through and see the ones that we've got and where they all exist. Alright lads and lasses, welcome along. Weekend work. Parameterization in Power BI is a big thing, right? It's really important to your whole Power BI development. We've covered using parameters within Query Editor, and I hope you guys are kind of getting used to that. We'll have a look at it again though in a minute. Right? And we've also looked at disconnected tables a little bit, and we'll revisit that as well today. Right? And then the last one that we're going to cover is the what if parameters. And I'm aware what if you could say, oh man, what if parameters are actually in reporting layer? Why are you talking about it in the Query Editor layer videos? Right? And the reality is, because I think it's important that we kind of understand where it all fits together and how our reporting layer and Query Editor side fit. Because because of the way the what if, do you know what? You'll see when we cut an hour. Yeah, so let's cut an hour and have a look. Champion. All right, so here we are, Power BI desktop in the Query Editor, looking at the New York water tower data. Your idea, and you're comfortable by now with the concepts that we can use parameters within here to replace data from within steps of these, yeah? So we typically use it if we're bringing in lots of Excel spreadsheets, for example, and then going to merge them together. We're not doing it with this data set, so it's a bit of a, right, yeah, but you're kind of aware of that idea. You know, manage parameters, create a parameter, off we go. Or we can get Power BI to create, or the Query Editor to create the parameter for us when we tell it to merge a load of files together. That all makes sense. We're used to that. That's easy peasy, isn't it? Okay. What we've also got within here is we've got concepts that go beyond there. So in this sanitary inspections, for example, if we look at the source, you'll see, wait, that's not English, right? It is, but you know, it's code. If we click on that, you can see this is a table I've created to bring in the data set, and it makes it possible to build like the report summary page, or the detail page for a single report. This works very well, okay? And these are disconnected tables that will exist within your analysis, although they're not part of the data model per se. They are part of the data model. Yeah, huh? There's not relations between them, is generally how it's described. So if we close that and we come back out, we have a look. You can see if we go into here and we zoom out a little bit, we've got disconnected tables over here, right? That have got the different connection, the different inspection types. They've got some measures in them which help make it possible to use them, and they generally make it easy to have that single view of a report. So we can go and look down at a single inspection and see what was found, what wasn't found, how did it go. The last parameter that you have, it does exist more in the service, right? But it is one that allows you to do more. So at some point you will want to be able to do your modeling and look at a new parameter here, right? And these are the what if parameters, right? So if we click on what if parameter and have a look at this, right? I thought it was important to keep parameters just in a Query Editor side because they all exist in the model. And a what if parameter does look and behaves very much like a disconnected table. And we'll see, right? So what are we going to look at? So we could look at this. And if you remember, one of the things that we did with this is we had that whole piece with a projection in terms of growth and things like that. Now, this is one of those options that you could do. You could have a dynamic growth rate. Okay. So we're going to have growth. I'm going to say whole number, but it's going to be a percentage, right? You can do decimal number. It's more just what works. And this is one of those things, it's difficult to say the right way to go with it. Tell you what, let's stick with decimal and make everyone happy, right? With a decimal number, and we're going to start with 0.8. I'm going to go to 1.2, and our increments are going to be 0.01. Okay, and we're going to, sorry, 0.01. There we go. Yeah. So we're going to go from 80% to 120% with a number of increments. And we'll put as the default 1. Click OK. Right? And you'll see it's going to add a slicer to here, and you can see here's our values that we've got. Okay? And it's put in a table. And we can see the table, there's some DAX to it, so it's a generate series. And this is where the difference is. It's a calculated table in DAX as opposed to a table that's gone through the whole query editor steps. Right? But it's just a table of numbers. There's no really in there that's going to cause you any problems. We can look and we can see it does exist in the table view. So if we come through here, we can see it's got a little calculated table icon to it, but it's here. And I've got me 40 rows that I would have expected to have. The last thing it does is it also produces some measures. So you've got the growth value, which is the selected measure. So this is the selected value. If there's multiple ones, call it a 1. Yeah. So we can see this would then be the basis. So you would then use this in your measures. And typically you'll find that you'll start to use these in things like switch statements. So if it's this, do this. And you start to then evaluate that on your measure that you've got. So what we would do, for example, is we would write a DAX statement to use this. And this is where it gets a little, I'm crossing over, I'm well aware we're crossing over, but I think it's important that you understand these in terms of all your data model side, which is why we're covering it here. You would typically use this, come through here, let's create a new measure. Growth inspections equals inspections multiplied by the growth value. All right. So if we then, what I'm going to do is let's put that in the right place for it. Yeah. I always put, if it's measures related to what if parameters, I always put them with the what if parameter, just like I do with disconnected tables, because I think keeping that all together makes sense. So we're going to bring our growth inspections in, and we're going to put that in with our calendar years. And then what we can do is we can actually put in place our original inspections as well, just to go side by side with it. Okay. And now you can see if I went down through here, it looks different. And what you can see as well is this might be one of those things to think through, because what this is showing is a number which doesn't, it's not necessarily, it's not as intuitive for my management to look at 1.13. What does that mean? You know, that should be 113%, which is why you might want to look at different ways of dealing with it. There are things you can do, so we could go back and we could change that to a percentage value and we could see, but it's one where you kind of, so there we go, 113%, yeah. Okay, so we can make that work for us. And what you can start to do is you can use this to help with your forecast for the future. So we would actually start to look at this and put it into your future state. Or you could look back at the past and say, what if, what if, what if? And you can build quite complicated scenarios with your what if analysis. So what do you reckon then? Right? Being able to use what if parameters within your data sets, within your data model, it goes a long way towards improving the functions and the capabilities of your data sets. Right? Parameters are vital to make your reports more portable. They enable so much across all the layers of Power BI that being comfortable with their usage will greatly improve your capabilities. Okay, we saw being able to just drop in that percentage goes a long way. How many times have your management said, well, we want to see growth? Well, I want to see growth in this region of 20% next year. Suddenly you can actually put that in and say, right, we're going to do this. It is really easy to then adjust the forecast and see what your growth would look like, what your targets should be. And you could then actually start to play with those and agree and define what's happening. So it's definitely something to use. It's part of the toolkit in your arsenal, but it's one to be aware of and definitely segregate and keep the two sides of your analysis separate at all times. I hope you're going to give them a try. You know, what if parameters, I've used them a lot. They are very useful, very powerful. They are very much, though, an analysis tool, like for your analyst community rather than for your senior management. The worst thing you can do is have senior management start to play with it, because suddenly you get people putting in reports. My report were great because I used this what if parameter at 20% and we looked great. It's not really how it works, mate, but alright. So I hope you'll head now to geordieintelligence.co.uk, enroll, become a member, sign up for some more courses, right? Help the channel out. Like and subscribe, of course. Goes without saying these days, doesn't it? And of course, stay safe and take care of yourselves. Ta-da.